Doing really good. How you doing?
I'm good. Are you out in San Francisco?
I was. I'm in Los Angeles now.
Okay. And
so,
where's your base of operation?
That's a good question. Most of the time it's New York, but it's L.A. a lot too, kind of back and forth by coastal.
Do you enjoy coast hopping?
Yeah, I love coast hopping, especially when it's like 0 degrees in New York and it's 75 in LA about this time of year. Yes, it's a good time to coast hop.
I'll be waiting for my ticket the next time you go back.
Yeah. You got it. You got it, man. It's pretty bad. I'm sending my thoughts to everybody on the East Coast right now. I'm trying to blow some of that warm air across the country to them.
There you go. Well, the good news is it's not going to be here much longer. I mean, 3 or 4 days, February's over, and it went fast. I mean, the winter went really fast.
And we're there. I know.
Yeah.
And then we're there.
And then we're going to be back. I'm pulling up your websites. I'm going to take a look at your website here. I looked at it earlier, and I was real impressed. Now, I know what's going to happen here. There's going to be music playing real quick, so I'm going to have to shut it down real quick so we don't have all distractions here for right now. So hang on a second. I should have did this a few minutes ago. I like your music, by the way.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you.
There you go. Okay. Oh, hold on. All right, there you go. Yeah, so I was listening to your music because I was checking out your website earlier. And I like the way the music just comes right on like that. And a lot of times the player button is in different spots. So until you're used to where the player button is, you can't figure out how to turn the music off.
That could be a pain.
I think that's pretty clever.
That could definitely be a pain in the butt, especially if you don't enjoy the artist.
Well, I enjoy all kinds of music. So I don't have a problem with it. Sometimes though it's inconvenient because unless you know where the button is, and like if I'm on the air and I'm struggling to get the button, that's why I kind of go on the website a little earlier and learn all these things. I kind of figured out where your button was to pause.
You got to learn the buttons. I agree with you, man. That's right. That's good. Right on.
I'm looking at your website here. So you're a solo act? Is that what you do?
Oh no, I'm not a solo act. I mean, I do my own thing, yeah, but no, I actually play with a couple of different session bands. One on the kind of both on the coast, and one in the Midwest. And what I've recently done, what I've started to do, is to actually form a band with a bunch of really cool guys in Philadelphia. I'm kind of looking for like the permanent full-time band, I mean, the real go-to guys, and because there's a difference between just hiring a session guy to do a gig. You really want to really get into more details to be able to sit there and work away, really work away on the arrangements. So these guys in Philly have been great. Guy I'm working with, great drummer. His name is Tom Mellon. He's a kick-ass drummer in Philly, and then I'm working with another guy out of Philly. His name is Tony Mack. He's a bass player. So these are kind of my permanent guys, and then I just have all other session guys all over the country. So it's been a pretty cool. It's like a no ego zone. It's a tough thing, man, to get great players with no egos. That's a tough one. So that's what we call it.
I know that just dealing with folks. Just dealing with folks in an office could be difficult. If you had just a regular office job and you went to work in the morning, it's hard enough dealing with just people that aren't traveling all over the place, that aren't playing music, that want have very high aspirations for a career. And you're right, sometimes the ego gets in the way. But I found with all the artists, many of them are very humble, very, very humble. They won't tell you about themselves unless you really dig in. And I found that to be very interesting. Very interesting. But tell us how you go about finding folks through all around the country to play with. How How do you do that? I mean, that's got to be challenging.
Well, it's challenging. I think the way that I do it is I've been doing it for so long that you create a reputation. These guys know that when I work with somebody, these guys get paid. You know, people get paid when they work with me. So that certainly helps as well. There's not a lot of paying opportunities in the music business. It's unless you're working with a like a theater or like on a Broadway show, or if you're in movies, or there's these sort of specialty areas. But as far as like bar bands, you might get paid, doing a gig, weekend warrior kind of thing. But outside of that, you really don't get paid. So I've been lucky enough to do this full time for, I'm going on like 10 years now. Actually, it's 11 years. It'll be 11 years in October when I'm full time in this thing. And it's just, that's really what it is. You just build up reputation and time over time, and that's how it happens. People are like, "Hey man, I'd love to play with you." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'd love for you to play with me, because then I'll find top-notch guys as well, really great performers." So that's pretty well that works. So
that's great. Yeah. So you're actually drawing them by your reputation, and that's actually the best way. So people, folks in your peer group, other musicians heard of you, they know you, that you play with other musicians. They're saying, "Hey, you want to get paid, you got to go play with this guy. He's got following, he's got gigs." That makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the other thing that really helped out is I actually worked with, and you may bring this up later on in the interview, I worked with a great producer in L.A. His name was Matthew Spindell. He's Rick Springfield's producer, and he's worked on numerous albums. He actually won a Grammy for Supernatural by Santana, and he worked on Dr. Feelgood with Motley Crue. He's worked with everybody on some level. So working with this guy also helped to open up a lot of doors. And then of course I got to work with Rick on his, not his latest album, but the one before it. Added a couple of backgrounds, a couple of hell yeahs, and a couple of shouting parts in the background. So when you start adding guys like that into the mix as well, then it just, all it does is it just kind of helps your profile, and it's just, that's what it is. It's just like building step by step by step. Who can bring to the mix? I mean, it's like that's really it there. So that's
absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, I have somebody on the line here. They probably want to talk to you. You want to bring somebody on here to probably one of your fans. 7:00.
Okay. I hope it's a good call, but I'm all ready. All right.
Okay, let's see who this is. Hey, this is Al Fink. You're on the phone with Joe Taylor and Al Fink. Who's this? What's your first name? Hello? 702 area code.
Oh, yeah. It's Lori.
That's all right.
Butler.
Tell us your name.
Hello.
Tell us your name.
Lori.
Oh, Lori. Okay, so you're on with Joe Taylor.
Thanks for calling. How you doing? How's it going?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Good.
Well, I'm in Vegas.
Gonna catch you in. You're gonna be back in Chicago in time for March.
Yeah.
20th?
I'll be back the 19th.
All right. So very cool.
When do you come out with a new album?
That's a tough question right now. I'm kind of working with a new production company, and it's being determined. It's being determined what that production company is going to be. As soon as that gets sorted out, I'd say it's probably going to be pretty quick. Music will come out pretty quickly. I'd say probably sometime later. I'd say probably in the fall for a full album. I wouldn't be surprised if my second single. I'm working right now with a production company, producer Bob and Jane out of L.A. They're like in the Hollywood Hills, and so we're working on a couple of singles. Like the most recent single I did was "Don't Change." We're working on another single that's going to be coming out probably in the next. I'd give it probably about another month, But as far as a full album, I'd probably say the fall, and it'll probably be with it'll either be with them or a different production company. So, and you'll get the first copy, Lori.
Thanks.
All right.
I can't wait.
Very cool.
I'll see you the 20th.
See you in Chicago. Don't forget your winter coat.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Bye.
So, Lori, how do you know of Joe? How did you find out about Joe?
I seen him on Rick Springfield's stuff. So
yeah, I was hanging out with Rick a couple of times. So yep. So just got to meet a few people, Lori and I. I think we meet at was it the Red Tap? I think it was the Red Line Tap in Chicago.
Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah. It was the day before. It was like 2 or 3 days before Thanksgiving, something like that. And it was the Red Tap. It's a cute little place. Let's just say it's not the most prestigious place in the world, but you know, it's a fun little. It's like your typical neighborhood dive bar in Chicago. It's like more, in the north, a bit north of the city. So it's pretty cool. It's a good experience. So nice show.
But I love your music.
Absolutely.
That's great. So okay, Lori, that's great. I see you're also in the chat room. So I see that you're in the chat.
Yeah.
And you said hello to the chat room. I thank you for that. So please keep listening. You can listen either way, either on the phone or through the internet. And if you have anything else to say to Rick, please feel free. If you're all set, we'll mute out your microphone and we'll keep you. Right. We'll either keep you on or if you're all finished, let me know and then we'll thank you for calling. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Lori.
Okay.
You're welcome.
There you go.
Okay. Well, it's nice to hear from fans. I have to tell you. I mean, it really, I'm sure it makes you feel really good to know that you're making you're making an impact on folks with your music. I mean, is that?
No, it does, absolutely. It's the best feeling in the world, man. There's nothing better.
So I'm looking at your tour, and let's see where you're playing. So you're in LA. So Saturday the 28th, you're going to be playing with a full band in Los Angeles at Genghis Khan?
Genghis Khan, yeah. It's like probably the best Chinese food in like West Hollywood. It's pretty it's great. I'm going to be going on with some of my I call them my LA recruits. We're going on at I think it's like probably about 8:15, I like to say, just to be safe, but we may hit the stage about 8:30. We're going to do about an hour set. I'm going to do a couple of few new originals that haven't been heard yet, really, for the most part. So, and then some of the old stuff from Anything's Possible. I'm going to have a whole lineup. I got my buddy. I even got a sax player, bass, drums, guitar, sax. I got my buddy Karis Payton on the sax. He was actually my LA bass player, my New York bass player for a while. Karis, now he's West Coast guy. And then I'm going to have Chris Cardell on the bass, Michael Holowatch on the drums, and I'm going to have Scott Welch playing the guitar. So it's going to be just a kick-ass lineup. So I'm actually quite excited about it. So it's just great. I just can't wait to just have some Chinese food and then jam with these guys. Actually, I don't normally eat Chinese food because sodium, the MSGs, that normally it kills my body, but I don't know if they have MSGs in Genghis's menu. I'd have to find out, but it's still good. It's just your body's going nuts for people.
So some of these places, avoid that with the MSGs because a lot of people don't like that.
Yeah,
I don't care for that myself.
I know. It's like, obviously it preserves the food, but it's like you don't feel very good afterwards once you've had it. So.
Yeah. Exactly. So let me ask you. So now you're out in Los Angeles. So while you're out there, are you playing other smaller venues? How do you how do you finance a trip out to Los Angeles? And so do you have other gigs going on as well that may not be posted up here? What do you do?
I do. Honestly, I'm not doing too many gigs at this moment. I'm doing gigs, like I'm shooting around in different cities. I'll be hitting the big three, of course, and then maybe we'll be doing like a southern kind of hit, at some point. The big three down there. But for the most part, in the business, in the music business, when you get songs put into television or movies or whatever it is, or you get songs played internationally, you earn certain kinds of royalties. So at times, it's when I'm not constantly touring ridiculous, it's normally some of the income that comes in from that helps to subsidize what I'm doing. So with a musician, there's different ways that. Now, are you up on the whole download streaming thing? Are you familiar with that? With what's going on with like Pandora? And
I hear a lot of stories.
What's that?
I hear a lot of different stories about that from a lot of artists. All I do all day is interview artists. Some artists are telling me they're not getting very much money for the streaming. Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, there's a guy actually that you may want to check out. His name is Blake Morgan, and he's a pretty cool cat. And what he basically talks about is he started this whole thing and he's taken it to Congress. It's called I Respect Music, and it's about artists getting paid their fair share. And so literally, I was going through some of my royalty statements, and I was looking at some of my iTunes. Now, normally for iTunes, okay, this is now an artist is normally paid. Well, normally you'll charge 99 cents per song on iTunes, but what normally goes into the artist's pocket is less than it's either like 1 cent or it's like less than 1 cent. So iTunes, Apple, is taking 98 cents on every 99 cent purchase. They're putting all that money into their own pocket.
That's ridiculous.
So anytime you buy an iTunes download, realize that they're taking, unless they have a special deal worked out, if it's a larger artist, I'm sure they probably have a different rate. But for anybody who's kind of like an unknown, like 99% of all the artists, they're basically taking a ridiculous amount. They're not even giving, the artist isn't even getting, like, the artist would not make 2%. I don't think I've ever seen a 0.2. I don't think I've ever seen that in a royalty readback. So, for instance, literally, let's say you sold, like, it's insane when you do the breakdown, like, a great place to buy music for artists, if you really want to support artists, is to get it through CD Baby. Now, on a sale for a CD Baby, if you sell it for 99 cents per song, CD Baby will take, respectably, they'll take 9 cents, and then the artist keeps 90 cents. And that's a little bit of a better ratio. Even if iTunes were doing, like, even if iTunes are paying 30 cents and taking 69 cents, or even if it was, because it's not like they're really doing a lot of the advertising that record labels would do. Like when you went back to the day, you had the Beatles. They might take like what? If you're doing really well, you might take like what? Maybe like 7 cents, maybe 8, or whatever it is. You might take or it might be like maybe like 7 or 8%. The rates are even below what you would have gone back in the 60s. It's like it's not even in the 50s. The rate is ridiculous as far as royalties. So they're basically screwing over the artist royally, and so is you got SoundScan. Not SoundScan. They're the ones who track the sales. You've got Spotify, who's another one that's really screwing over the artists. They're paying crap. They take the music and they stream it for free, and though and it's up to the artist. I mean, they keep saying to the artist, well, you'll get promotion, you'll get it out there, and I don't want to knock these people, same kind of issue with Pandora, so it's like they're really screwing the artist. And if they just gave it a fair shake, if they were just, because I have nothing against the companies, just pay the damn fair rate. Don't be screwing people. You're not even paying them even a cent.
I agree with you. And here's why I agree. I agree with you for several reasons. And here's the first reason I agree with you. You deserve to get paid, okay? And you deserve to get paid a fair wage. When I have artists telling me that they made more money in the 80s than they're making today. And that sounds crazy to me. Everybody else has gotten a raise, okay? And then that's the first reason, okay? The second reason is it doesn't cost anything to sell a 99-cent download. There's no disc being pressed. There's no artwork being made. There's no printing. You know what I mean? It's an electronic.
I mean, if anything at all, it's the artist that's putting up the money to produce the picture, and it's the artist producing, and it's the artist producing the image. You know.
That's right.
I mean, so it's ridiculous. So I'm going. What was I going to say? I'm going vinyl. We're going to start selling everything vinyl pretty soon. We'll sell stuff like CD Baby because they're cool. You get downloads.
33 and a third records around with you. That's what you're going to do.
Let me tell you something. It's going back that way. There's some record plants that have opened up in the South because manufactured. It's starting to happen. You're going to start seeing it. Certain artists are going to say, sorry, nope. And these are established ones that are going to do this. They're going to say, sorry, you know what? If you want my record, you can only buy it on that. You can only buy it now. You can only get it on vinyl. And if you don't, well, okay. They still, they can still have their songs plugged through the radio. They can very easily do it. All it is just taking a budget. You take a whatever, if it's a $50,000 or $60,000, could be $100,000 PR budget. Let's pop it for 2 or 3 weeks, and then we'll pop it for another 2 or 3 weeks, and then bang, it's the number one song, and they can pound it. They can pound it through. They can pound it through vinyl. They can move a ton of, keep more of that. They can keep more of that in their pockets, and they should, because. What were you going to say? I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry, a little passionate about this. Obviously, you know.
No. Listen, I want. This is your show, okay? And that's what I tell all artists. And I'm concerned. I'm concerned for all stakeholders here, okay? And I'm not a musician, okay? I've been entertained thoroughly for the last 40 years by local live musicians, and I've befriended a lot of them, okay? And I've heard their plight. And, and I've heard this story over and over and over again. And I'm saying to myself, why is this? Because, plumbers get raises. You call a plumber and you get a bill for $300. You go to the doctor, okay, and it's, $50 copay, and then the insurance company gets charged $250. You go to an electrician, and it's, $130 an hour. So people don't want to pay for music. I mean, that's ridiculous. And then you throw in technology. And listen, I think the technology is great, but again, the most expensive part of doing the music is producing it, writing it. Okay, just like you said, making the transaction of a company making the transaction to sell a song for 99 cents. It costs them fractions of a penny, okay? So why are they not giving 30, 40, 50, even half of the money to the artist, okay? That would be a good deal in my book. Okay.
I will tell you why, because most musicians are not. It's because they can. Most musicians are not business savvy at all. Most of them are just creative, and you put your faith in the system. And the reality is, for me, I'm a little more business oriented. So you have to be, though, to survive. I've seen a lot of my friends, and not that they're looking for a free ride here, but I've seen a lot of my friends go under, and there's only a couple of us left. And when I say a couple of us, meaning, people that I've gone through the whole process with. They might be in another city, they're in another country, they're working away, they're doing this thing. And I'm doing my thing, and, we keep tabs on each other. Hey, how's it going? What's going on? Maybe we can intersect. Maybe we can, do a few things. But ultimately, there's only a handful. I'd say there's maybe about 6 or 7 musicians that I look at that are very much like myself. That and I'm not just talking about somebody who has a run for a couple of years. I'm talking about somebody in my demographic who has been at it for 10 years or longer full time. They're not working a regular job. This is just all they do. But they're also they might have been signed to a major label, but now they're not. But I'm not just talking a bar band. I'm talking somebody who's out there really pumping it and hitting the doors as well and knocking on doors trying to make it happen. So this, maybe 7 or 8 that I could name, and and maybe 1 or 2 of these guys could be, or girls could be, the next thing that's like that could break. Like that's how selective this list is, and it's a pretty tough list to get on. Let me say, but they're pretty damn talented. So, but that list was more. I knew a ton more people doing this, and it's the system is going down, and in the economics of it, it's going to go to vinyl. That's what's going to happen. They're going to create a system where you can't transfer it. That's where it's going to go back. And artists are just going to say, and artists kind of got to step up and say, if you're not going to buy my music, and if it's not going to come to me, if I'm not going to get paid for this, then I'm not going to do it. It won't be available. You're going to have to just, and they could say, well, and then the consumer could very easily say, well, okay, well, I won't buy it then. Tough luck. Well, but the reality is that, the consumer, though, is the one that loses, because everybody loses, but they lose in particular because the quality of what they're going to get is just, it's just going to go down. It's going to go down the tube. The business is going to go down the tube. Who takes over? I mean, you realize that, like, these guys, like Billy Joel, Elton John, Paul McCartney, all these guys are only going for so long. I mean, it's admirable. Sir Paul, what is he, like, he was, 42, born in 42. So do the math. What is he, like 73? 73, or 73 or 4 in June, something like that. Maybe 73 in June, something like that. I'm trying to work 5 on 2, and then 3 on 5, so which is 15. So these guys aren't going for like another 30 years. So it's going to come to a point where
you run out of artists.
My goodness, where the heck are the artists? And not to say that the 80s artists now are not all making a resurgence. They're going to try to come back and fill in the void, and then you're going to have other artists. But at the end of the day, where are the new artists? And there's only a handful. And this leads to another thing that I'm going to kind of jump on, is the whole people will look to American Idol, and The Voice and all these shows as, well, this will be the solution then. We can bring, we'll bring them in. They can sing on this television show. And it's just a karaoke contest at the end of the day.
They're doing cover songs. They're just another cover band when they go on those shows.
And I don't mind cover bands. The Beatles were the greatest cover band ever. But let me say this much. Let me just throw this in here. When you listen to somebody sing for 5 minutes and they're belting it out at the top of their lungs, okay, you're not getting an accurate representation of what they're capable of doing. What I mean by that is, have them do that for about 3 hours, okay? Have them do that for 3 hours. Have them tour all around the country, okay?
Yep.
On top of that, have them write their own songs, which have to be absolutely brilliant, by the way. You have to just, and so do that, and people are not really getting a real thing. It's almost like a steroid chicken that's being pumped up. It's great that you can pound it for like 2 or 3 minutes, or 5 minutes at the most. Maybe 10 minutes, you might have to do another song, do the duet. And I'm not knocking them. What I'm just saying is that it's not the reality. When you listen to someone like Steven Tyler, even though he's on the show, when you listen to him and you hear it like concerts back in like the later 70s, when you start hearing more strain in Steven's voice as time progresses, or even when you hear Journey on the road and Steve Perry's exhausted, but he's still doing it, he's straining the notes, but it still sounds great. What you have there is real. That's real. That's not like what you have on there is like it's just, I don't know. It just, for me, it's a show, and I have a lot of respect I got a lot of respect actually for Simon Cowell, and I believe it was Simon Fuller and Simon Cowell that derived the whole American Idol thing. It was actually Simon Cowell. Short story. Simon Fuller wanted to take the idea, and Cowell said, "Well, if you don't have me on the show, I'm going to sue you." So okay, you get to be on the show then. So that's how that all started. And I have respect for that. He had an idea. He said, okay. But once the artist gets off the show, you're done. It takes so much without that apparatus to survive in the business. So there's it's a culture thing. It really tells you where people are. It's a collapsing enterprise, the music business. And there's some great artists, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's some killer artists, great singers that go on there, but the point I'm getting at is you're not really seeing them for what they are. You're seeing a very quick snapshot, and people think, well, that's it. There we go. There's a solution. Musicians can just audition for that, and that's their way. There you go. You should be on American Idol. You should be on The Voice. You should be on, and again, not to knock these guys, but that there is a show. It's a television show. It's a reality show. Once the show's done, there's only like maybe 4 or 5 people that you would really be able to even name. Adam Lambert, who completely deserves it because he's a ridiculously great singer, talented all around. Kelly Clarkson, ridiculously talented. Oh, who's the country singer? She took a Louisville slugger, blonde hair, brown eyes. I can't even think of her name. She's very talented as well. Daughtry, okay. I think I've got like 4 on there. There's somebody else, and I'm just missing the names. How many seasons have you had? How many, year after year? And, at the end of the day, I actually had a friend of mine who was actually on The Voice. I think it was like the 3rd season. His name is Rudy Paris. I met him. I got to jam with him. He was so nice to have me jam with him out in California. There was this thing at a show it's a vineyard in Madero. It's called AppCal. It's a very cool thing run by my good friend, Mr. Darren Shaw, who runs it. And these huge festivals in the summer. If you're ever going through there, you should definitely check it out. Right off the I-99. But the point is, Rudy is a phenomenal, sick musician. He is so talented. His band is as tight as, he's well beyond that show. I believe that he's above that show, but that's just my opinion. But so there are some very talented people that make it on there, but but you really don't have a lot of Adam Lambert stories. It's even less. You've got less of a chance of sustaining going through that avenue because of the contracts they sign you to. You're familiar with, right? They give you terrible contracts. You pretty well have no options. You're screwed.
Well, they're starstruck. These folks are starstruck when they think they're going to become next Bruce Springsteen, and they're going to be noticed, and then they sign anything without reading it, and they have terrible representation. But I got to tell you something. I agree with what you're saying, and I'm flabbergasted by the plight of great musicians. And there's a lot of really good musicians, and I have a lot of local artists who've done their unheard of artists that have done their own music, and they send it in to me, and we play it for them. Okay, and they're very grateful for getting a play, but I believe that people need to be paid for their work. And here's the message. I agree with you 100%. Here's the message you need to give. The first thing musicians need to stop doing is saying, I'm not in it for the money. Okay? That's the first thing they need to stop doing. And they get mad at me when I tell them this. What do you think about that?
No, I agree with them, because if they don't want it to be a business, then if you want it just to be admiration, do the gigs, don't take any money, but also get it out of your head that you're going to go anywhere in the business, because you can't do it both ways. And,
so that's
I agree.
That's step one. That's step one. Now listen, I think it's very noble, okay, to want to perform and make people happy, right? And I'm sure you do too. But
then just
you got to go to the supermarket, right? Don't you go to the supermarket at the end of the week to buy groceries? Okay.
I'll tell you, those absolutely, man. I've been on like an organic kick lately. You know me. I'm trying to eat healthier, and so my food's a little more expensive. I got to make even a little bit more money because I got to eat healthy. I don't want to be sick. Anyways, please continue.
Yeah, so I do the same thing. I eat less and eat better food, but it's expensive. But I like that, and I don't eat gluten either. So, but anyway, so that's the first thing they need to do. And they get mad at me when I tell them that. Okay, that but they say it over and over and over, and then the next breath they tell me how broke they are, and I say to them again, you got to stop saying you're not in it for the money, because you have a skill and a talent. Just like instead of you having a hammer or a saw or a drill, you have a guitar or a saxophone. Okay.
I know. Oh my goodness. I know. I completely agree with you, and it's that mentality that's allowed people to exploit that, and they're being exploited. And yeah, no, and I get this and I get this. Like I understand. It's like, listen, if you want to just do it for the love of doing it, then just do it for the love of doing it. Don't leave your house. Just stay home and do it. Or if you want to, if you want to be an artist, because a lot of people say, "Are you an artist?" And I'm like, no. I mean, I might come off like maybe I'm artistic, and I'm artistic, but this is going to sound crazy. Some of like the biggest companies, some of like the biggest people out there that run, like the guy who runs Virgin, Mr. Virgin. He's very artistic. They got people that run major companies. They're very artistic. You have to be artistic to have the idea and the vision to get there. It's the ones that are like just looking to hold the positions. You know, the ones that are looking just to be management, but they didn't put in the real work. They didn't. Let me phrase this very carefully to make sure that I get this very clear, not to offend anybody. There's a difference between an executive who you're going to pay a lot of money, who didn't create the vision. They're there just to manage the vision. There's a big difference between that person and the person that actually created the company. That's what I'm trying to say. And both people are needed. Now, I see in most instances a musician has more in common, not with the person who's managing the company, but the person who's creating the company, who's creating the vision. That's what the musician's doing.
I agree with you.
But these people that are successful they still have to have people in place to manage this, to make sure the thing doesn't fall apart. It's got to have some kind of reality has to be attached to it. It's great to have dreams. Dream as big as you damn well want. I'm a dreamer, a huge dreamer, man. I'm like dreaming crazy, but at the same time, I'm also finding ways to make it physically work. How do you make it actually work? And when you realize that, when you make it physically work and you have a dream, if you can pull off a dream, make it work physically, bring it into reality, you're going to want to get paid for that, because the amount of work that you put into that, it's everything. It's more than you could even possibly understand that you're giving away, or that you're putting into something. So maybe maybe for some musicians, maybe they're not hurting enough. Maybe they haven't had enough pain. You know, maybe that's what it is. Because at a certain point, for me, I'm like, I'm not giving my damn music away for free anymore. It sounds terrible. Everybody's like, give a free download away. Well, I'm like, I'm not giving the damn free download away. Maybe if I have a special promotion, I will. Maybe if a fan has been really great, I'm like, absolutely. But I worked my ass off for that. It took years. So
you want me to tell you number 2 what I would do if I was a musician? Here's what I would do.
I'm in LA right now. I got to interrupt you for quickly. I'm in LA right now, and I'm looking out. I'm in my hotel, and I'm looking out the window, making sure I'm okay. So don't want musicians to come after me for what I just said. Please continue. Sorry. Continue.
No, nobody's going to come after nobody, because at the end of the day,
I'm having fun.
Yeah, what you're saying and what I'm saying is really the business of the business. Because you could be the best artist, but if you're not making any money, what good is it? What good is it? And I'm not talking about making gazillions of dollars, but let's start with making a living first. Okay.
Let's get something to eat. Let's actually have something to eat.
So
I agree.
Yeah. Here's what I would do. Now, we live in a great time for artists to be able to be their own label. Okay. Now, but you got to do it the right way. You certainly just can't give your music away. Okay. And you certainly can't say, hey, you know what, if you don't want to buy my music, to heck with you, okay? But I think there's a happy medium, and I think this is what the happy medium should be, and it's not that hard. And actually, artists that use the technology today in their favor are actually in better shape than they were when they had a record company, or they had to, because record companies took advantage of a lot of artists too. Okay, and a lot of record companies helped artists too. So it's not all of them. Every business has good and doesn't matter what's the business. So now with the technology today, if I was an artist and I had my own music, okay, what I would do is I would have my own site, okay, period. And on my site, I would allow people to stream my music, but I charge them a monthly fee, okay, just like Pandora. Okay, now people will say to me, well, we don't get any hits. Well, that's your fault, okay, because in 2 years, okay, and I'm just a knucklehead who has a couple of websites that help artists. In 2 years, I got a 25,000 fan following base on social media, and I'm no advertising mogul. Okay, so an artist that has something to offer can build a big fan base really quick. Okay, so what I would have if I was an artist, and I'm not. Okay, I would have a website that would allow streaming. Okay, for members, it could be $3-4 a month. Okay, for a member, and then they can play your music. Then for the people who want to buy your CDs and collect the artwork, because a lot of artists have CDs that are branded, okay, and they're doing a brand, and they like to sell the CDs, and people like to buy them with the artwork and the little books. You have that to offer for people who want to buy that, and then you do that through like CD Baby or something, or some other service, okay?
Well CD Baby is, I will say CD Baby is definitely the best service as far as that's concerned. They're certainly the most honorable that I have come across. Yep.
Yeah. So now you have that, and then you have to get on the social media sites, and you need to promote, and it doesn't cost you anything, okay? Because here's the thing. So let's say if I was an artist, okay, and I'm on the stage for 3 hours, okay, for each gig, or 4 hours. Of course, I got to set up, and I have to get the gigs. So let's say if I'm a full-time musician, I'm spending 7 hours a day doing stuff like that. Well, there's a lot more time in the day you can get on and promote. You can get people going to your sites, and with PayPal and services like that, you don't even need to have people sending invoices anymore. So it could be that's the way I believe that music should be sold with an artist. And the heck with these guys that are screwing you. Just cut them out. Cut them out.
Well, that's exactly what's happening, and that's what's happening. Whether it's the way that you're suggesting, or another way, that is exactly what is happening. That's what will happen as time progresses.
That's the way to do it.
And the thing is, and I do agree that had it not been for the labels, we certainly wouldn't be at this point. But I can't put it all on the labels, because these companies that created this streaming, they had every intention of completely cutting out the artist's revenue, and they want to even pay even less now. I don't know if you know this. There's a lawsuit going on between BMI. I believe it's Pandora and BMI. I think BMI is suing Pandora. It could be vice versa, but I'm pretty certain. And it's making quite a splash. If you get a chance, again, check out this guy, Blake Morgan. He actually runs a label. He runs a pretty reputable label in New York. So
I wrote that down. Blake, and who's Blake Morgan with?
I'm not sure if it's. Hang on a second. Let me just confirm. Hold on a second. Blake Morgan. It's ECN, I think. Hang on a second. Morgan. This is the cool thing about label. This is the cool thing about the internet. You can just load it up. He's with ECR Music Group. So Blake Morgan record label. Yeah. So it's ECR Music Group, and they're based. I think they're pretty for the most part based out of New York. They're like an independent. They deal with independents. And I'm pretty confident that I think McCartney's son, Michael, is under the label. I'm pretty certain, because I'm not 100% sure, but definitely in some of the bookings end of it, and then I'm pretty sure that actually Julian Lennon is under that as well. I don't know how much. Oh no, sorry, it's Sean Lennon. It's not Julian. It's Sean is also under that label as well. And I'm not sure how far it goes. The extent, if it's just the booking end of it, or I'm not exactly sure what part of it. But I do know that they've actually they're trying to get Congress on board with this, and they're continuing to push this thing. So, which is great, because that's what you got to do. You got to deal with the law. You can't just say, hey, I don't like, they're dealing with
copyright laws in place, and the problem is, I think that the lobbying groups that you guys already have they're not very strong. And what has happened is the lawyers are making all the money, but that's the way it always is. So, I got to.
Yeah, you fight to a point, but yeah, I mean it's true. But at the same time, that at the same time though, you don't want to be so jaded that nothing can ever get done. Like, let me tell you something. Like in the last year or two, actually Congress did do something. They actually passed a law for musicians where if a musician has a guitar, okay. Mm-hmm. Both Republicans and Democrats, Republicans actually passed it. This is crazy. They actually succeeded in doing something. Musician has a guitar and there's space on the plane, then the musician is entitled to have their instrument on that plane if there's space. So because I don't know if you heard the story with United where this like $15,000 guitar got totally smashed, and there was this huge thing against United. They got totally screwed in terrible PR. But the point is, stuff does happen. It's easy to just be so jaded to say nothing can happen, nothing can ever change. I understand what you're saying. Like you do need to. Those people need to be cut out. I agree with those companies because they're clearly not capable of. They're clearly not capable of playing, fair. But at the same time, unless you ask, a lot of people make the mistake of not asking for something. It's like, it certainly doesn't hurt to be asking. And obviously, yes, the lobbying groups on the other side, there probably are significantly more powerful. But it does come to a point where if enough PR is put out, public pressure will shame some of these companies into kind of stepping back. Or if people just stop using their services and say, well, this is the deal. Here it is. If you don't want to have music anymore, okay, you're not going to have a lot of music. If you don't want to have a lot of music anymore, then that's fine. More and more people are going to stop putting their music on this. It's going to be a limited selection, and those companies will go down very quick. So at the end of the day, it's public. We always have the last say. Once you get public opinion behind something, so in a way they are I think they are still more powerful than the lawyers and the lobbyists, and and absolutely they're certainly putting up a heck of a fight. These other guys, and they got probably millions of more dollars to play with. But at the end of the day, it's if you're so jaded that it's like you can't make a difference with where we are. I mean, it's easy to be jaded. Come on, I'm jaded. I'm like, it's all corrupt and it's all crap. And a lot of it's crap, but there are some good people. So, anyway,
well, you know what? I think that I don't believe in giving up. Okay, but here's what I believe in. I believe in if people aren't going to play nice, guess what? I'll find people who want to play nice. Okay, and this is one reason why internet radio is growing so quickly, because a guy like me, okay, I don't have to worry about some radio executive telling me what I have to do or what time I have to be on or what kind of show I can do, okay? And I don't have to worry about a record company or things like that. And artists like yourself, you have great music. You can take control of this, and the heck with all these guys. And if people don't, there's going to be a lot of people who want to buy your music, believe me. You just need to have a way to get it to them where they're paying you directly and you're marketing to them directly, and you won't need these other folks, okay? And then that's the best medicine, because what you're going to end up doing is you're going to end up paying a lawyer all the money you could have put in your pocket. Okay, that's what goes on here. Let me tell you something. I 20 years ago. I'm going to tell you a funny story, okay? And we're kind of running out of time, but I'm just going to give you an example. 20 years ago, I was involved in a divorce, okay? And it was a battle. And we were battling over nothing. Okay? We were battling over nothing. Finally, after
how much the lawyers were going to get paid.
Well, here's the funny thing. Listen to this. After 5 years, I go to my lawyer, hey, listen, there's nothing to fight over. I'm flat broke. Okay? I can't even pay you any more money after today. I'm sorry, but I have to let you go. Well, you can't let me go. What do you mean I can't let you go?
I just did.
This is what he says to me. I said, I can't pay you. I can't pay you. Guess what? After I told him I can't pay him, he let himself go. So then I go, about 3 days later, I'm sitting in the courtroom. I'm sitting actually in the pre-trial meeting, and the judge says, okay, where's your lawyer? Where's your lawyer? I said, Your Honor, I'm broke, okay, and there's nothing else I could pay the lawyer, okay, and there's nothing to fight for, Your Honor. Well, you can't come to court without a lawyer. Trial's in 2 weeks. So I go to trial in 2 weeks. Check this out. 2 weeks, I show up in the courtroom. The judge says to me, where's your lawyer? I said, I told you, Your Honor. I'm out of money. There's nothing here to fight for. So what do I need a lawyer for? Let's get this over with. He goes, it's your funeral. Listen to this. In 20 minutes, I was divorced. 20 minutes.
Congratulations.
Okay? Yeah. Okay, and there was no repercussions after that.
Yeah.
That was 20 years ago. Okay, so let me tell you something. They're all in cahoots. Okay.
I hear you. I hear you. So, I definitely hear you. So anyway, as far as lawyers, I guess we'll see what happens. So for another time to talk about.
Or if I was an artist, this is only what I would do. You artists can do whatever you like, but I would keep all of the legal wrangling and steer clear of that. I would fire all these guys that aren't paying me, okay? And I would get a website that allows me to have a membership for people who want to stream, okay, and pay $4 or $5 a month to listen to your music, okay? Mm-hmm. And then if they want to buy your CDs, or vinyl, they can buy that.
I like it. I like your idea. It's a good idea.
You see, and then there you go. And
it's a good idea. I'm not up with it.
Right?
No, I agree with you. I hear you.
Here's the way I look at it. If I have to spend $100,000, okay, to get up and going, and I'm on a 10% profit margin, I got to sell $1 million worth of stuff. If it costs me $10,000 now, I only have to sell $100,000 worth of stuff. You see? So it's not what you take in, it's what you put out, it's what you keep. So you know what I mean? And then you want to drive people the way the industry is going now, it's almost back to the days of the 45. The 45 was like the music business card, and you drove people to your shows with the 45. Now these downloads are like the 45 of one song. You see, and people will pay $1.
I totally get you, brother. No, I hear you. I get the idea. We should talk more about this. We should talk more about this sometime soon, brother. I mean, no, I hear what you're saying. So how are we on time, though, man? I don't want to hold you here. I don't want you to go over your time zone, brother.
We're out of time. We got about another 4 minutes, and I have the next guest coming on. But
I appreciate that, man. You don't mind if I plug my website a few times, do you? Just to try to get some people into the show.
That's exactly what we need to do. We need to plug your website. We need to plug your music. Okay?
All right.
And it's all yours. Go ahead.
Let's do it. Okay, so everybody listening, thanks for listening, guys. I love you all, my fans. You guys are wonderful. And Al, definitely thanks for having me on. And so my website is joetaylorofficial.com, or just go to Subway Idol, type in New York Times, Subway Idol, Joe Taylor. It'll all come up. And or you can just go to, again, the website, joetaylorofficial.com. we got a date coming up, a concert in Los Angeles. Anybody in the LA area, we're going to be performing Saturday night at Genghis Khan. I go on probably about 8:30, but I get there about 8:15. It's like $7 or $8 at the door. Great Chinese food. I think you guys will love it. And it's going to be a pretty kick-ass performance. So anybody in the LA area, come on out. I'd love to see you. And I'll also have my new single, Don't Change, will be available as well. And there you go. So that's pretty well there's the spiel. Hope you guys liked it. It was a lot of fun. So.
Okay. Well, that's, I tell you, I was listening to some of your music. I like your music a lot. And it looks you're very busy. You're going all over. You're going all over the country playing. And I think you have a marketable product here. And you seem to have a good business acumen, you know, try to keep the money you earn without having to pay all these bums that are doing nothing for you. You know,
don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. I got the bums already worked out. So the bums have already been worked out. So no problem there. But I appreciate that, man. Thank you, and thanks for letting me talk about the streaming, man. That was pretty cool that we got to get into that. You know, it's a good deal. So, and so
we'll have you back.
Yep.
And you know, we can always talk off the air. About
exactly. We can talk.
Items. We can get you back on the air too. So.
Sounds
right,
good,
Joe.
brother. Hey, man, enjoy your week, and maybe I'll send you a postcard. So.
Hey, you know,
and definitely take it easy, brother. Thanks again for having me.
I'm actually supposed to go to this Dorian's place. You're going to be there on the 27th because I'm not far from Jersey City. I'm about 40 miles from Jersey City.
Oh, my goodness. How couldn't we plug this Dorian's thing, man?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
You realize we're going to get our first fixed.
Talk about Dorian's.
So, yes, we'll be at Dorian's. Yes, it is. I believe it is the 27th. All right, so we're gonna meet there.
Okay.
Oh man, I think Texas is gonna kick my butt. So I got to thank him as well for hooking us up. I got to thank my manager as well for hooking us up as well. So
okay.
Text everybody. Good man, and I will see you in New Jersey, and I'll see you in March.
27th of March, Dorian's, 10 p.m., 555 Washington Boulevard, Jersey City, New Jersey. PM Jam Nights. How did you meet Vlad, I believe his name is? I just met him too. Texter Vlad.
It's text. Yeah. We actually met through. I used to do a little gig at the Bistro in Jersey City.
Uh-huh.
So there's a little bistro there, and he basically came in and he heard some acoustic stuff, and my manager was there as well, and we all just kind of started hanging out, and there was a couple of functions that he did, a few things that he did, which was pretty cool. He'll have like this. He was having some of these performances in the square. It's called Play Something. Oh my God, I'm kicking my.
It's called PM Jam Nights. PM Jam Nights. The website is. Hang on a second. I have it here. Hang on a second. The website is playmusician.com. www.playmusician.com. I haven't been on it yet. Him and Margaret kind of set all these gigs up on, for these interviews, and so I said to Margaret, who is this guy? He's getting a lot of these people on the show. He said, I want to talk to him because he's bringing a lot of folks on the show, and we should see what else we can do to work together. And then I talked to him yesterday, and we do a lot of the same kind of things. I mean, I don't book shows, and I don't set stuff up, but we have the same kind of model. We're building following, and I'm real good at building following. Like I said, I have 25,000 plus fans between Twitter, Facebook, and some of these other sites, and I put on 100 new followers a day, 100 new a day.
Yeah, it's great that you're adding on some. It's great you're adding on some more peeps. Okay, so So this thing though that Dexter was doing is actually it was actually PlayMusician Newport. So that's so it's PlayMusician Newport. He's actually been picking up a lot of cool musicians. He's kind of been creating a little bit of a culture there in New Jersey. So especially in Hoboken and Jersey City, and so I got to give kudos to the guy, man. He's doing something good. So it's a rare thing, man. Somebody's doing something. All right, man.
There's a great renaissance going on in a lot of these New Jersey cities, and I'm sure around the country, the inner cities are getting this renaissance. Jersey City and Asbury Park, New Jersey, and especially the communities by the ports. You know what I mean? We're by the water. People love being by the water, and Jersey City's downtown is a beautiful downtown area. Plus, they have that light transit, and that has actually breathed a lot of new life into that area. Public transportation, the light. So we're going to get together. So we're going to show up at Dorian's. I'm going to be doing interviews. I think I'm going to be there on the 13th also, and we'll talk. We should talk off the air. Do me a favor. Send me an email. You have a pencil?
Yeah. Well, I got your info, man. We've been in touch.
Yeah. Send me an email because I want to chat with you. I want to chat with you off the air because I want to help artists. Okay.
Okay.
And we got to tell them to stop talking about, hey, we don't want to make any money. Okay. We got to get them to stop saying that. And they got to hear that.
I'll shoot you an email right now.
All right. And then let's brainstorm on that, okay?
Got it, brother. Listen, man. Enjoy the day, and we'll see you in March, brother.
All right, my friend. Thank you. All right. Another great interview. Joe. Excuse me. With another great interview with Joe Taylor. What a fabulous conversation. What we do here is we talk about music, okay? We don't play a whole heck of a lot of music. We talk about music. We talk about the pros and cons of the way to present music to folks. We talk about some of the challenges that artists have, and they're just like any other trade. Now, I've gotten a couple of calls on my cell phone here, and you heard it ringing in the last conversation. I'm wondering if our next guests are maybe calling the wrong number. Instead of calling the show, they're calling my cell phone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a couple of spots here for promotion, sponsorships, and then I'm going to go ask Margaret to help me, but I can't have dead air. So let me play these promotion spots real quick for you. So stand by a second, and then we're going to come back to you. Hang on 1 minute now. All right, so there you go.
Hope you're enjoying the live music and vibes at Play Musicians' produced live music event, PM Jam Nights. PM Jam Nights is every second and last Friday, right here at Dorian's Irish Pub, Jersey City. Check us out at facebook.com/PM Jam Nights for post-show pictures, audio, video, and news. PM Jam Nights includes some of the best singer-songwriters, originals, old school, new school, bands, dance, comedy, hip-hop, rock, and blues acts in Jersey City since 2010. The PM Jam Nights DJ After Party is from 12 a.m. to 2:30 a.m. with some of the hottest DJs, mixing, burning, and churning hits to make you sweat, sway, and dance till the early morning. Thank you for your support. Music makes the world go round and round, round and round.